Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve, Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I'm so thrilled to have you join us today. We're bringing guests on like I have today. They're going to really educate you, motivate you, inspire you on that servant's heart, how impact you can make, as she said, and we'll talk about being authentic, being genuine with your servant's heart. Wouldn't you like to make an impact in people's lives every day? I get to do it every day, and it's a blessing, and you should be able anybody can be able to, you should be able to want to try to do that every day if you can. And I want to thank my great sponsor, Pantheon. Imagine joining a community of high income thought leaders who are building this platform to help grow and change and impact the world, but also help you grow your business as well. For more information on Pantheon, just reach out to me and I'll get you more information, or there'll be a link in the show notes. With that being said, real estate, it's everywhere. It's global. There's a lot of realtors. Last time I heard, there was 15,000 realtors to sell one home in California, which we're both at in Northern California. So you really should be a servant's heart as a realtor. If I was a realtor, that's the first thing I would do. But let's bring our guest on, Andrea. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. I really appreciate it.
Done this 27 years, you told me, right? Selling real estate?
Yes.
What inspired you to do that?
It was the failure of a play that I produced, actually. I wrote, I was doing a lot of directing in those days. I come to all of this being a theater director and being a person who works in theater, and I'm a playwright. And a friend of mine, a guy named Larry Kirwan, had written a gorgeous play. He used to have a punk band called Black 47. He was from Ireland. And now he actually writes children's book. We're all of a certain age. But he wrote a book called play called Liverpool Fantasy. And it was about the Beatles. They picked the wrong hit single. They never become famous. Paul has become a lounge singer named Paul Montana. John is living on the dole. His son Julian is the leader of a neo-fascist organization. Ringo has married a hairdresser, and George has become a monk. And they all meet up at John's apartment in Liverpool one night when Paul is passing by as Paul Montana on a bus and truck tour singing his songs. And the play was awesome. I received incredible reviews in all of the small press, but the large press didn't like it. It was right when this thing called the Beatles Anthology came out, if you remember that. And they wrote things like, you can't write a play like this about the Beatles, because of course it explored the homoerotic content in the relationship between John and Paul. It also basically skewered a lot of politics and what have you around the Beatles and, Yoko Ono and all of that kind of stuff. So the end result of this was that audiences diminished over time. And my show, which was this beautiful creation with incredible actors, fully professional, all being paid equity wages, failed miserably. And I found myself losing over $100,000. So I had to do something really, really fast because I had done everything kind of on a wing and a prayer, and I had gotten people to invest. It was sort of like that Mel Brooks film, The Producers. I'd gotten friends, family, what have you, to loan money as well as invest in the project. And I thought, oh my God, I've got to do something. So at that point in time, I thought, what can I do to quickly make some money? I actually borrowed a suit from my sister and started interviewing at different jobs I found in the paper. And I ended up, because of my theatrical background, having my own office and a secretary at an advertising agency in Sausalito, selling high-tech professionals advertising. And I knew nothing about any of that. I had not even used a computer, didn't own one, what have you, but I memorized everything. And I got in there and started working, and I was able to sell. So 1 year to the day after I got there, I had made enough money that I paid back 100% of those people. And then I thought to myself, okay, I'm pretty good at this. My theatrical skill is transferable to sales. So what else could I do? I looked into a variety of different things. I kind of liked wine, so I started selling wine. And when I was selling wine, I didn't realize that you had to carry wine around with you. So I got very, very buff walking up and down the hills in San Francisco, going to different hotels. And there was always somebody, some old guy who had been doing it for years and years and years, who was the person they relied on. But I think they, out of pity, bought wine from me. Once again, I did pretty well. I did very well, as a matter of fact, but I didn't like it. It wasn't my thing, and I don't even drink. So it was even funnier than that. I was just using all the metaphors and the ideas that you could use around wine to sell the wine, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, I thought, what else could I do to make money that I would like, utilizing this newfound sales skill? And it was between cars and real estate, because they were high ticket items. And I started going to high end. I love cars. I drive a Porsche. I love good machinery. It matters to me. But I started going to different car dealerships. And what I noticed was the women were all the receptionists and in the background, and all of the guys, all of the salesmen were guys. Then I went into real estate offices and went, oh, it's all women here. I could do this. So I got my real estate license, and my first month I made 6 sales, and I've pretty much been doing that ever since. And so real estate became really kind of a cause for me, because I realized how much it can change people's lives. In this country, one of the only ways that people become wealthy is through ownership of property. It really is one of the few ways that a person can break through the class system that we have in place here. Remember, I live in Berkeley, California, so I'm going to be talking like that. And the end result of that for me is I realized I was actually genuinely making an effect on people's lives by selling real estate. Every person you sell a house to in a community, they start caring about the schools and the streets and the crime and the small business owners that work in that community. They vote, they care. So it became important to me to really work hard at my profession. I had, being a theater person, I had not taken the business world terribly seriously. I hated people that were just out for money. I still sort of do, to be perfectly honest with you. But I believe that if you can make a change doing what you're doing, wherever you are, it's the most important thing in the entire world.
Yeah, very true. All these years, a lot of people leave real estate. I know 50 people over the last 5 years have quit real estate. They tried it. And I'm going to say this publicly, it's unfortunate that people jump in and become a realtor because they see the big payday. And it's just not that. And you talked about working 10, 12 hours a day. But whether you learned over all these great years how to be a better realtor.
Well, first off, real estate is one of the professions in the state of California. I believe it is every place it's a profession. And there's a lot involved. Every year I have to learn all the new laws that come out around housing. Every year I have to take additional classes. Every 4 years you have to renew your license. It's not easy, and people think it's easy, and the good ones make it look easy. And that's why you have all these reality TV shows where they, are driving around in their Cadillac Escalades and drinking champagne, and it looks like they just have a laugh fest every day. And that's so not what really happens in real estate. So over the last 27 years, what I've learned is that just like when I'm casting a play, usually within about 30 seconds, when somebody opens their mouth and they're auditioning for me, I can tell whether they're talented or good or thought about what they're doing. Same thing with real estate. You can tell in about 2 seconds who's going to be talented and capable of doing this work and who isn't. Because the amount of discipline actually required to work every day in this field is profound. It's not for the faint of heart. I have had 11 clients go into real estate because of me, and there is only one of them who is still even tangentially involved in real estate and they all came to me going, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable what you guys have to do every day."
No, and I'm glad you said that, because we're not walking in your shoes. You're telling us, and I'm not saying not going to real estate, but what you're saying, Andrea, is there's work. So if you want to do it here, it's just not, because I talked to a lady a couple years ago. She's an admin in a chiropractic office. She goes, "I'm going to jump into real estate, man, 40, 50,000 in commission." Unless you don't sell a home, then it's zero.
Last year, 2024 was a bad year in real estate for most people. There was a lot of uncertainty around everything, the election, the interest rates, worries about this, that, and the other thing. And 71% of realtors in the United States did not make a single sale.
71%?
Yes.
Ooh, that's high.
At any given moment, less than 10% of the realtors make money in real estate, by the way. I'm in the top half of 1% of realtors in the country. In 2023, I was number 133 in the state of California. I know these numbers because I have a business coach I meet with weekly. She's wonderful for accountability. Her name is Vonda Martin. She's amazing. And my belief is that if you don't understand what you're getting yourself into when you start as a realtor, you will fail. Absolutely. You have to understand that you have to learn to time block. You have to create a business plan for yourself, just like you would if you started any business. Especially when you're an entrepreneur, you're 100% responsible for everything yourself. You are on a treadmill, and you're only as good as your last sale. So you have to keep a pipeline of potential business ahead of you. I've taken 49 listings already this year, and that all is representative of how much work and dedication I put into things all the time. So nothing, one of the hard things about life is you discover that it is very complicated and difficult, even as it's very, very simple. I was very fortunate. My dad was a very wonderful man who was very involved in Buddhism. And my sister and I were raised as Buddhists when we were children and exposed to, he taught at Cal. We were exposed to all kinds of wonderful philosophies and wonderful thinkers during that time period. My dad actually studied with Alan Watts. And so I think that there's a book called Chop Wood, Carry Water, if you've ever heard of it. It's a very simple, beautiful book, easy peasy to read. And it really explains a lot about how you can break down what is important and what is not. And I think all of us going through the pandemic figured out a lot about what is important and what is not. And those of us who remained standing in real estate after the pandemic had truly figured out what was important and what was not. I sold 7 houses during the pandemic completely without anyone going in them.
Wow. I keep saying, wow, you're blowing me away. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So that leads to me, and this is for any industry, this is not real estate, the trust you've built with your clients. How do you do that? How important is it?
It's 100% important. That's all you have. I don't have a physical product that I am selling.
Here's a pin, sell the pin, yeah.
Right. What I have to sell is my capability, my skill set, my negotiation ability, that they can trust me in a very, for most people, a real estate transaction is the most important financial transaction of their lives. I regard that as absolutely a sacred trust that they have to have with me, because if I let them down, I have let them down massively in relationship to their finances. So it's not fun. It's not just all fun and games. It's very, very serious business that you're doing when you're a fiduciary. You know what a fiduciary is?
I do. My financial advisor is a fiduciary. That's why I have
Exactly.
her for 20 years. She's awesome. Yeah.
Exactly. That person can be trusted with anything you tell them. Seriously. So for me, I regard it as urgent that I'm truthful, open, honest, authentic, serious. I have a good sense of humor and I love to tell jokes, but at the same time, it's important to know that I can be counted on for whatever it is. So that's what I do in my job. It's paid off massively. I mean, just being your own authentic self in the world is a really important thing. I learned it the hard way too. I was a people pleaser. Most people that go into sales are people pleasers. It's really true. And early in my career, like my second year in the business, I had a very famous client. I won't say her name, but she's written books that everybody's read, very popular author. And I was in awe of her. I was absolutely, utterly, and completely in awe of this woman. And because of that, I wasn't normal. You know how when like somebody says they're going to take your picture, all of a sudden your upper lip feels weird and you can't figure out what to do with your face or something?
Yeah.
I was like that around her. I was not like that around anybody else I was dealing with, but for whatever reason, her celebrity affected my ability to be open, honest, clear with her. Her property had a very serious foundation issue. I didn't emphasize enough how much she needed to do in order to address that before her house was sold, because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. Okay. And of course it came up and it was the big issue in the transaction, and the transaction ultimately blew up, and then the property got taken off the market and she decided to rent it out. So it was one of the biggest transactions I had up at that point. So it felt like this gigantic failure. But what I learned from it, because every mistake you ever make, you always learn something from it. Always, always, always. And what I learned from that is that you can't sugarcoat anything. You have to be straight up with everybody about everything, because that's more important to them. So fast forward 27 or 26 years later to a deal that I have going on. I have a house that's coming on. I got a pest inspection. It came back $156,000 on the pest inspection.
Wow.
I called my client up immediately. I said, this is a very serious problem. We have to deal with this. Either you can credit back or we do some of the work, but whatever it is you do, this is going to radically affect the end result of your sale, because nobody in their right mind who is not a contractor is going to buy your house with the level of a problem that we have here. It's the whole front stairs that are rather significant. And I feel good about saying that to her. And we're making, we are having people come out, structural engineers, what have you. And ideally we'll come up with a solution that will financially work for her. But that's how I am now. I'm always like that with people. I tell them things they don't want to hear. I try to be as nice about it as possible, but at the same time, I know that that is service. That is giving them the actual service that I need to provide to them.
All right, so I'm going to recap real quick.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a servant's heart, you have to say no when it's the right time, because you're serving them. If you keep saying yes and a yes person, it will bite you big time in the booty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when listening.
Yeah, and you also need to say no to things for yourself as well. I mean, that's also important. I went to a listing appointment not that long ago, and I realized that even though the person that I was talking to presented very, very well on the phone when I first spoke to them, when I was at their house, I realized, oh, this person, sorry for using a lay term, is crazy, and and this will be from hell if you work with them. And it was a very expensive house. And I, at a certain point, said, I'm not the right person for you. And it's hard to walk away from stuff, but I know that right around the corner is something better, because I have the capability to step away from things that I know are going to be nothing but trouble.
You chase the money like that, you miss opportunities on the back end all the time. Chase the
Exactly.
people, meaning chase the right people. Say, no, it's not a fit. You don't have to be honest with them. Say, you're crazy. Didn't know if you
No,
said it
I
or
did
not.
not. I just said I'm not
No,
the right realtor for
yeah,
you.
you're not a
No.
fit. And maybe you give them a referral. That's a way to serve people that you say no to. It makes it more comfortable, builds trust for down the road. I love that. We're coming close to the end here. God, you're awesome. You know
Thank
that. You're so awesome.
you.
You have an awesome podcast. And you know me, I love my podcast host. Talk about your podcast.
Okay, I have a podcast called Realizations, which is capital R-E realizations and for real estate. And it's available on Hulu, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube. The whole point of Realizations is to educate the American people about what it is real estate is, how it's practiced, who's involved, how many people a realtor deals with on a regular basis, who the vendors are that you need to be in contact with. Because I got upset about the NAR DOJ lawsuits and the commission lawsuits because I don't feel like we're respected or valued in what we do. So rather than just be upset about it, I thought I'll do something about it. And I created a podcast and it's been very successful. I'm getting incredible guests on. For example, the CEO of my whole company, Robert Refkin, whom you may have heard about, came on, and his piece it's pretty incredible, talking about racism in real estate, the clear cooperation policies that he's kind of on a tear about in all the news right now. He was very forthright and open with me, and it was wonderful. I also had the chief evangelist from Compass on, Leonard Steinberg, who is just a brilliant, lovely, amazing man, talking about business and how business is done. And he is a phenomenally successful entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. So I have people like that. I also have had plumbers talking about, different sorts of legislation that's coming down in cities. I've had city mayors on talking about the different sorts of real estate legislation that is coming into play around rent control, around eviction control, around wood stoves and gas appliances. All of these things come into play as issues around real estate, and the people that I've had on have been really wonderful, and I hope you come and check it out. Realization,
Yeah.
Andrea Gordon.
We'll put it in the show notes. So you have access to it. I'm definitely going to check it out because I know some realtors. I'm actually going to share it with. I'll talk about sharing podcasts in a second here. Let's end with a fun question.
Okay.
So in Berkeley, I reserve a restaurant for you. Your favorite restaurant, table of 4. You're going to sit in one chair. In the 3 empty chairs, who are you going to invite to the table, dead or alive? And what food would you order for the table?
Well, I'll start with the food because that's the easy part. I would order comfort food for everybody, either Italian or just things that people normally like to eat that are easy. Not a lot of arugula, not a lot of fancy stuff. Just good food that people actually enjoy. And as far as the people that would come to the table, oh my Lord, there are so many people that I would love to have at my table. I'm a theater director and playwright, so of course I would love to have Bertolt Brecht or Anais Nin or Immanuel Kant. I would love to have. That's 3 already, but
let's do a banquet table. Give me more.
I would love to have, August Wilson. I would love to have the great Rosetta Lenoir that not very many people know about, who had a very famous theater company in New York called Amos. She was Langston Hughes' best friend, and she was a brilliant civil rights activist as well as theater practitioner. And I had the joy to work for her when I was in my 20s in New York City on a production of a play called Louisiana Summer. Let's see. I would have Robert De Niro because I think he's a really interesting person. I would have probably Michelle Obama because I admire the hell out of her. I would probably want to have Toni Morrison is another writer that I really love. Gosh, I could go on and on and on. George Bernard Shaw. George Bernard Shaw. I love George Bernard Shaw. Annie Besant.
Yeah,
I can tell you
that'd be a beautiful table. Definitely a lot of conversation. I love the comfort food because that way you can hand eat and be able to have your conversations and enjoy each other. You're a rock star. You proved it because you're successful, but you're a rock star because you're a servant's heart.
Thank
I
you.
see why you asked to be on the well. How we connected, we're trying to figure out. It doesn't matter. You're definitely a blessing to be on this show because you're the true guest that shows I can serve, I can be genuine, and still be successful. I think everybody out there listening thinks the same way. Somebody listening also is going to go, I want to reach out to Andrea. How can they find you?
Very easily. I have a website, which is www.andreagordon.com. And you can also email me at andrea@andreagordon.com. And I also have a theater production company called Rainbow Zebra Productions, LLC. And we have a website called rainbowzebraproductions.org. And you can also reach me at the Magic Theater, and that's andreag@magictheater.org. So I'm out there. You can find me anywhere.
You can find her. And if the worst is Google her, I think you're going to find her as well. Thank you again. You're an absolute blessing. Hey, audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And here's why. This is a perfect example. Because when you subscribe, you get all the links to the shows. You listen to the show and go, I want to get in a theater. I want to be a realtor, or one or the other. Reach out to her. Or here's where the gift comes in. She just gave us a gift today. She gave us 20 minutes, 22 minutes of a gift that you can share with others to, guess what? Make an impact and difference in their life. Subscribe, not mine. Subscribe to Andrea's podcast. If you know a realtor or you're a realtor, those are gifts. Why not share them? With that being said, me and Andrea, I want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. We'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.